1. London, 1885. James Moriarty was an unhappy man, at least from 8 in the morning until 8 at night. For the other half of the 24-hour span, he counted himself among the most fortunate of his kind. He loved his wife as passionately as he had on the day he'd married her 3 months ago. He just didn't know if he could live with her. Not in this house, at any rate. At Angelina's insistence, they'd taken a lease on a 4-story terrace in Kensington, a fashionable neighbourhood south of Hyde Park. She dove into the monumental task of furnishing and staffing the overlarge abode with gusto. She spent hours away from home, haunting auctions and furniture warehouses. Copies of Exchange and Mart scribbled in red pencil littered the house. Even when she paused to drink a cup of tea or nibble a bite of lunch, wallpaper sample books and Castle's Household Guide commanded her full attention. Natural enough, the home was a woman's proper sphere of action, after all. It surprised Moriarty that his extraordinary wife had taken so well to that traditional role, but what he knew about women wouldn't fill a teacup. He didn't begrudge her the occupation, but he couldn't share it with her. In fact, she'd banned him from participation after he suggested they paint all the walls the same colour, a soothing bluish grey, to save the mental strain of devising a fresh scheme for each floor. He had no contribution to make, other than to shower her project with funds. This, too, would be natural enough, except that he had no other sphere. Sphere? Bah! He couldn't find so much as a quiet corner in which to read his newspapers in the morning with a 3rd cup of tea. He'd just been evicted from the kitchen by a beetle-browed cook who had scolded him up the stairs with a torrent of agitated French. Moriarty had only identified the testy individual as their cook by his puffy white hat. He had never seen the man before. Juggling teacup and papers, Moriarty emerged from the staircase into the hall, crossing to enter the back sitting-room, or morning-room. Its designation changed on a daily basis. He hoped it might become a library, possibly even his library. It had one empty bookcase and a nice nook beneath the rear windows, where a man might read or write letters. Alas, it still had not yet been supplied with chairs, just crates and odd shapes covered with sheets. The room at the front of the ground floor was the dining room, easily identified by the large octagonal table that had come with the house. The shape pleased Moriarty. He liked the symmetry of it. He kept that opinion to himself, however. If she knew, she'd probably throw it out. That hadn't happened yet, and the table had its own chairs. He could read his paper there. He peeked through the door to find the spirit of the house pacing around the table, studying a stupefying array of fabric swatches and wallpaper samples. What kind of deranged society required so many different kinds of wallpaper? Apparently, the choice of paper and drapes was a critical one, capable of determining their entire future lives. Success and failure were invisibly coded in each pattern, most of which Moriarty could barely distinguish. He failed to understand the importance of such decisions. His inability to see the imaginary future in place of the actual present was a source of continual frustration for his wife. Angelina spotted him in the doorway, and her eyes flashed a warning.
"Not in here, James!"
Her voice held an edge. Moriarty's spirits sank. These days her humour depended on whether this green matched that yellow, not on his presence or absence or state of mind. She would never admit it. They'd argued the housing question at length after returning to London from their extended honeymoon. She'd wanted Mayfair or Belgravia. He'd put his foot down at the expense. He'd suggested Ealing or Bedford Park, respectable new suburbs on the western fringe of the metropolis. She'd crossed her arms and refused to speak to him for a full day. This end terrace on Bellenden Crescent represented a compromise. Moriarty had not failed to notice that the house was a short walk from Belgravia and a long drive from Bedford Park, typical of their compromises.